I'm excited about our first caller we've got in the queue. We've got David from California. Are you ready to dive in, Arden?
Let's go for it. Let's do it.
David in California. What I'm seeing is that you want to talk about your man Jesus. What's going on with Jesus today, David?
Yeah, do you remember me from the other day?
I think so. Did we talk?
So, yeah, but I got cut off.
Oh. On
Are you there?
I think
we talked on Atheist Experience, right? A week ago?
Yeah.
Right. Well, what can we help you with today?
Back for more.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to talk about the omniscience of Jesus, but you guys kind of led me down another path that I didn't want to go down.
All right. Well,
Little Red Riding Hood.
Well, we try not to be big bad wolves around here, but there's only so much we can do. If I remember correctly, let me know if I'm off here. You were saying that you look at the Bible as being evidence for the omniscience of Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so that's my perception of it. I just want to give some examples.
Okay, go for it.
Well, maybe I have to declare what I consider evidence first. I don't know.
That could be helpful. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that you say that the Bible is not evidence, but I don't know how you decide exactly what evidence is, because there's pagan history, there's biblical history.
Yeah. Well, let's think about it like this.
Structures and so forth.
So I don't want to refer too much back to the prior call, because people who are listening or watching, they don't have that in front of them. But if we're just approaching the Bible, and you're saying you look at the Bible and you see that it says certain things about Jesus, therefore Jesus is omnipotent. Would you apply the same standard to say
omniscient?
I'm sorry, omniscient. Forgive me. To say reading about the attributes of Superman in the comics, and say the comics say certain things about the attributes that Superman has, therefore Superman has those attributes. Are we on the same page?
Yeah. So
if we're talking about what the Bible says and we're talking about what the comics say about these two different characters, now what?
Well, I think, I know the Superman story myself, and that came about right about the time that we were developing the atomic bombs around World War II, and we were discovering a lot of knowledge. And so there's a lot of knowledge in the Superman story that is actually true, and we're actually kind of paralleling that today. If you look at the Superman story, that's about where we are today in our progress.
Well, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I use Superman as an example because you can find examples of superhuman figures all throughout literature, all throughout history, all throughout religions, all around the world. And all of these different books and comics and traditions say certain things about certain people. But I think the question is, why should we care?
Well, the way I see the comics, as you're developing Marvel Comics or whatever, those tend to deal with evolution theory and making gods and so forth. And I think that's kind of a pagan formula, which has been repeated numerous times. So it's something that's true. I can't deny that those gods were real myself. But I can go into the evidence as far as why I think the Bible is evidence. I don't know why you're bringing up fictional stories, but those do have true science and knowledge within them, and they actually reflect sort of what the pagan ideology is today, paralleling evolution theory and old age cosmology, David, and stuff like that.
I think, David, there's something going on here, though. We bring up this comparison to make a point, and you're kind of I feel like you're biting the bullet maybe more than you actually want to, because when we're saying there's some truth to Superman comics, I would agree with you. If you were to say there's some truth to be found in the story of Jesus, you probably could find an example that I would agree with you on, but I think that's not actually your claim. Your claim isn't that when you read the Bible, the story of Jesus, there might be something valuable there, or even a aspect of truth that you could apply to your life. Your claim is that Jesus exists and is the Son of God, right? So that's a very different claim from like when I read Superman, I'm thinking about like how the development of the atomic bomb and like the amazing things that science and like human ingenuity can lead to. So like, can we get a little deeper?
It's the Superman. Yeah, the Superman story is true to a degree, and that's the pattern that you want to follow. So it's not, that's what you deem is true. That's the Superman model is what you deem is
true. But I don't think
I'm
Superman is actually real.
Yeah,
I don't think that Jesus actually.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do think Superman is real. You think Superman is real because
I didn't know you
now
could read my mind. That's really impressive.
The Superman story. Wait, the Superman story follows the pattern of modern man's idea of space exploration, conquering the cosmos in the name of Carell or whatever his name is. I don't know.
It also has X-ray vision and the ability to fly into the sun.
Yeah. And there are specific claims about Superman. Superman works in a city called Metropolis for a newspaper. We can look at the claims that the Superman comics make and know that Superman is not a real person.
Yeah, but according to you guys, evolution produces Superman, and that's what the Nazis thought.
David, how do we go from Jesus? The Bible says Jesus is omniscient to Superman is real to evolution to Nazis. What is the point that you're trying to make with your call? What do you want to tell us about Jesus?
Well, I'm trying to tell you why I think the Bible is evidence, but you're dragging me down another trail again, like Little Red Riding.
Whoa. Hold on. We did not go down the trail of saying that Superman is real. You're the one who brought us there. It was just an example.
Yeah, it's an analogy, my friend. But okay,
I realize it's a fictional story, but it does comprise a lot of truth in it. So I don't deny all the past gods. That's something you do. I don't deny those.
Well, okay, so if we're going to talk about Jesus, all right, and the evidence for Jesus, go ahead and make your case.
Well, I was just going to say why I think the Bible is evidence in the first place, and then I was going to give some examples why I thought Jesus was omniscient real quick. So the Bible was written by the Jews, for the Jews, right? And it was written over, a few centuries, anyways, over several centuries. And so it goes all the way back 3,500 years. And the Jews, this is what their life revolved around. It totally revolved around the scriptures. They studied the scriptures daily. They copied the books all the time. They, lived their lives by it. Everything was governed by the law, everything from human rights to animal rights to, their codes, their civil codes and their penal systems and even their giving to, humanity.
You've told us now that you've got a book that is very old and that was especially significant to a group of people. All right. What else?
Well, yeah. I'm just trying to tell you why it's superior to pagan history, because pagan history, it kind of revolved around the kings, the rulers, right, and the leadership. So in the pagan history, in the Bible, it says you cannot add to or take away from it, right?
It does say that, yes.
Okay, so that's a higher criteria than the pagan history, because the pagan history doesn't say that. They could embellish it, they could censor it, they could do whatever
how
they
does
want
that
in history. They could just totally eliminate it.
David, you're not getting anywhere closer to evidence here, my friend.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's why the Bible is superior as far as a historical document, because their property rights revolved around it, their genealogy, keep track.
David, I got to ask you. So when you use a word like superior, there's a value judgment that's being made there. Superior in what respect?
Well, I'm telling you, it's superior in its meticulous method of recording it, because they had to keep track of the records for property rights.
What does any of this have to do with whether the Bible is evidence? Evidence of what?
It has to do whether it's historical. I said it has to do with whether it's historically accurate or not, because they put more emphasis on recording it than the pagans did on any of their documents. It's far
I don't
superior as
listen,
far as the
David. I
historical
don't give a
document.
shit what the pagans did. What the pagans did is irrelevant to whether or not the Bible is evidence. I don't care if the pagans kept meticulous records or
That's
not.
why it's
It doesn't
evidence.
matter. Okay, so do you understand the distinction
Well, that's why-
between what evidence is and what a?
What do you think? What do you think evidence is then?
Glad you asked.
Because that's my idea of evidence. It's a historical document that was meticulously copied and repeated and lived by it every single day of their lives.
Great. Evidence is anything that can be used to demonstrate that a claim is true. Anything would fall within the umbrella of evidence.
So the Bible cannot be evidence.
Well, the Bible is the claim. The Bible is a series of claims
No, the Bible
about
is history.
things that happened.
History.
The Bible is not history.
No, it's history. It's not just a claim. Well, it's either true or it isn't true.
You're onto something there.
Okay. Yeah, right. So based on that, based on what I consider evidence, I think the Bible is superior to any modern scientific evidence because
Well,
you guys believe in evolution and climate change and old age cosmology.
Scientific evidence of what though?
Yeah,
Like,
let's think about what you're saying here, because let's just evaluate one claim, and I'm going to bring up a specific one because you've brought up evolution and cosmology and all this stuff. The Bible says that there was a worldwide flood that killed everybody except for one family and a number of animals who were preserved in a big boat. Do you think that story of the flood of Noah and the deluge and all that is a historical account?
Well, that's pretty obvious. It's historical. I mean, you can see the sedimentation all over the planet. You can see seashells on top of the entire surface of the planet, including the mountains. You can find fossils all encased in, global sedimentation that could only happen by a global flood, not local floods. Okay, that's all caused by a global flood.
Sir, I have to ask.
Ask me if I believe it. Yeah, I believe every bit of it.
Okay.
So I want to give you some examples of why I thought Jesus was omniscient, and I consider the Bible the higher evidence than even your modern science.
Okay, well, here's the difference between the Bible and science. Okay, science is subject to rigorous testing for scientific claims to gain any traction in the scientific and academic communities. There's this entire process that a claim has to go through, where a claim has to be verified by evidence. Not so with claims in the Bible. I don't know who has told you what you just relayed to us about what the evidence indicates about a global flood. But if you're under the impression that there is evidence in support of the flood narrative in Genesis, then you've been lied to.
Wait a minute, Kenneth. Okay, this is the Kenneth speaking to you now. The global flood or whatever, the Bible, science makes claims, right? They make claims too. They got eyewitnesses, and you say it has to be verified with evidence. Well, how many times have we seen science change over the years that people won Nobel Prizes, they did peer review papers, and then people came after them and disproved everything that they said?
It happens all the time. Isn't that great? That's how science works.
No, it's not great. It changes all the time. It's not trustworthy.
are you afraid of change, David? Change is scary.
The Bible doesn't change. Okay, it stays the same.
That's not a good thing.
Of Jesus.
When new information comes forward, the honest thing for any of us to do in light of new information is to change our perspectives. One of the greatest weaknesses in basing one's worldview on the Bible is that it doesn't change.
No, but the new information that comes forward is constantly disproved.
Well, let's.
It's always disproven later.
When you say this, David, I don't mean to insult you, and I want to give you a chance to talk about the omniscience of Jesus, but it's becoming more clear the more that you speak that you don't understand science. I don't know what your level of exposure has been, but I would urge you to maybe. I'm sorry?
I have my own cosmology. It's called the Cosmology of David.
Well, the cosmology of David isn't worth jack shit in the scientific world if you can't prove your claims. There are professionals out there who dedicate their lives to understanding the universe, and you may consider reading what they have to say about this stuff. You may, with regards to flood geology, I mean, I would look at geology, I would look at biology, I would look at the number of different scientific fields that all converge to demonstrate conclusively that the flood story in Genesis is bullshit. There's no good reason to believe that it's a literal account of anything that ever happened.
Well, Kenneth, I have studied all this. I'm 58 years old. I've gone through it. I've been there, done that. Okay, I'm not going to keep studying evolution when I know it's not true.
Well, where have you studied? Where have you studied evolution? What would be an example of a source that you've looked at to gain an understanding of this? I'm sorry?
Can I give my examples Can I give my example of Jesus' omniscience?
Yeah. Before you do, would you mind just telling me what your favorite source is for gaining an understanding of evolution?
I've been learning evolution since I was in high school.
But what source?
Yeah, where have you been learning? Because you sound pretty confused about it.
It changes all the time.
It doesn't.
Yeah, you've kind of usurped the Christian position now. It's totally changed.
Listen, nobody's usurped the Christian position. I'm just asking you, what is the best source? If you were going to direct someone here, if I wanted to really understand the truth about evolution, where would I go to find it?
It doesn't happen. So if you're going to find the truth about it, you have to go to the Christian scientist.
Give me an example. Who's a Christian scientist? Who's an authority here?
I don't know. Morris, maybe. I don't.
Henry Morris?
Those are old people.
Dwayne Gish? Henry Morris and Dwayne Gish?
I used to study.
I literally took classes with those men at the Institute for Creation Research in Santee, California when I was a child.
Yeah, I did too. I've learned all this stuff when I was young as a teenager.
They're liars.
Because it's not true. It's not true.
Henry Morris and Dwayne Gish are liars. I would strongly urge you to look at what actual scientists have to say. Neither Henry Morris nor Dwayne Gish ever did any actual research. They didn't publish papers. These are not scientists. These are not people who actually understand the science of evolution. They made a living off of misleading people and selling lies about evolution to evangelicals.
I don't believe in evolution. I don't see it. I'm 50 years old. I don't see climate change. I don't see old age cosmology. I don't see evolution. Okay, I can give you my cosmology if you want, but if you let me just give my evidence on why Jesus is omniscient, I can.
Well, let's go to Jesus, because I think we're at a dead end on the cosmology stuff. But I would urge you to you're getting bad information from bad sources with regard to your science. But let's talk about Jesus.
I get all my information out of the Bible, okay? And then I pretty much judge everything by that. But I am a scientific person, okay? I got the highest grades of my class in astronomy, okay? Nobody even came close to me in astronomy. I understand astronomy. Very simple, okay?
That's great. Let me ask you one question about astronomy then, and I promise this will be the last rabbit trail. So do you understand that there are stars that are millions of light years away from Earth and we can see them?
Yeah.
How old do you think the Earth is?
Almost 6,000 years.
So how does light from a star that's millions of light years away get to a 6,000-year-old planet?
Well, the light is backing up like a stream. You ever seen a stream hit an obstacle in the stream and all of a sudden the water slows down? That's like your blue shift right there, where the water slows down at the obstacle and then it moves slower after the obstacle. That's kind of like the way light is out in the cosmos. It's moving at an infinitely or very rapid pace, and then it slows down, and that's why the waves get bigger as it gets further out.
Right, but what I'm asking you is, how is it that if it takes, we know how long it takes the light to get here from something that's that far away?
No, you know what it's like in your local galaxy, you or in your local solar system. You don't know what it's like beyond the local galaxies.
Where'd you get that information? Because I don't remember that part of the Bible, and I thought you got all your info from the Bible.
No, but this is in the Bible, because the Bible says that the CMBR, or the light was created on the days 1 through 3, right? God created light before stars. Now science has proven.
Yeah, light was created before the sun. That's right.
Light came before the sun. because the CMBR is light, and that was the visible light on days 1 to 3. So
Yeah.
you cannot say that the Bible is not accurate.
Oh boy. All right, David, we could spend all day on this, but let's hear about the omniscience of Jesus. We've got a book that says Jesus was omniscient.
Oh,
Yeah. So, like, you said you used to be Christian. Did you ever give a sermon?
I did.
Kenneth, okay, he's back. Good.
I did. I've given sermons. Yes, I've preached.
Okay, so me too. I've given a few. So when you do your sermons, you normally like write notes, right?
Yes.
Jesus didn't have to do that. He didn't have to write notes,
How do you know that?
He just gave a sermon.
How do you know that?
I don't read it in the Bible. He never said, "Hey, John, where was I there?"
The Bible never says anything about Jesus's notes.
I was talking he didn't have any notes. He didn't.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
He just gave an impromptu sermon, and
How do you know that?
about what he was talking about, and it reflected the Old Testament perfectly.
How do you know that?
Because I read
How
it.
do you know that Jesus didn't have notes?
I read it in the Bible.
It
Yeah.
doesn't say anything about Jesus's notes in the Bible, David. You're being dishonest.
No, I know, but it does. There's nowhere where the apostles go, "Hey, Jesus, do you remember when you cast the demons out of that one guy, Legion? Or do you remember when you fed the 5,000? They never said that. Because
How do you know that the Gospels are an accurate reflection of anything that any of these people said?
I told you.
Because what?
The method was superior to any other recording method in history.
No.
Because they had
The Gospels, we don't have any sources that that come from the same time as the life of Jesus. You know this, right? The Gospels all come from decades later.
It doesn't matter if people do. It's obvious that people don't like the Jews. They're always trying to kill them off. Okay.
I didn't say anything about Jews. You talked about meticulous note keeping and meticulous record keeping. We don't have any Gospels that come from the same time as Jesus's ministry. We've got copies of hearsay evidence about what Jesus and his disciples allegedly said. We don't have any first-person accounts. We got nothing in the way of evidence here.
First-person accounts. Those are all first-person accounts.
How do you know that?
So, I mean, the Romans had an empire to record and store their information, and they don't have a very good record of their empire.
David, I'm not talking about Roman records. I'm talking about the Gospels. You just said they're first-person accounts. How do you know that?
The Roman records were not that good. And
David, I don't give a shit about the Roman records.
Back up everything.
I don't care about Roman records. You're talking about the Gospels. How do we know the Gospels are first-person accounts?
Because.
Oh, because. All right.
Yes.
I mean, because. Come on, man. This is not honest.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's history.
No, it's not.
It's history, and you can't.
How do you know it's history?
Because you don't have any better evidence. You sitting here.
Oh, okay. So we just have a big old argument from ignorance type of fallacy going on. What? Okay. So you're making the claim. The burden of proof is on you to demonstrate that your claim is true. You said the Gospels are first-person accounts. Prove it.
Yeah, but you can't come up with any better form of evidence. You tell me science, and that's something I can.
Evidence
Burden of proof isn't on me. You're talking about. You said we're dealing with one claim. The Gospels are first-person accounts. Prove it.
Time. Science is not trustworthy.
We're not talking about science. You said the Gospels are first-person accounts. Prove it.
Established history is far more superior than something that changes all the time.
David, if you're not going to
Established
answer,
history.
if you're not going to answer the question, we're just going to move on because you're wasting everybody's time by being dishonest.
Yeah,
And it's a shame.
got my point across. So Jesus is omniscient because he doesn't have to say, "Do you remember when?" and he didn't have to take notes.
We don't know Jesus said any of that stuff. We don't know that the Gospels are accurate accounts of anything that Jesus said or did.
Yeah, I do.
How?
Well, I've got a lot of verification through personal experience. You may not think personal experience is good.
What's your personal verification that the Gospels are reliable? We can't even establish that they're first-person accounts.
Well, I've got personal experience with God personally. That's the thing, that God has spoken to me personally, and he's done things that I've asked him to do, and specifically. So, I mean, if somebody stomped on your head, you would probably think that's sufficient evidence, even though you don't have it recorded by a peer review team, right? Well, that's my...
You do not have anything in the way of evidence that is remotely in the same ballpark as someone stomping on your head.
Yes, I do.
Give me your very best one. What's your very best evidence, your very best experience that proves that the Gospels are reliable? What do you got?
Well, I'm just telling you, when I was 18, I first came to Christ.
Is this your, hang on, before you keep going, is this your best? Are you giving us your very best example?
This is my personal best example.
Okay, cool. All right, let's hear it.
You scientific evidence, because we've already proven that scientific evidence is not trustworthy.
We haven't proven that at all. That's horseshit. We haven't proven that at all. So I really, it's really frustrating how dishonest you're being, but give me your very best example, and who knows, maybe we're all about to have a come to Jesus moment.
Well, I'm just telling you what happened to me. I didn't...
Let's hear it.
And then and all of a sudden, I started hearing about Jesus, but I didn't know anything about God until I was 18. I didn't know anything about God or science or philosophy or any of that stuff. So I was like a blank slate. So God started me because people started saying things to me. But when I called out to God, I said, God, help me, because I was ready to commit suicide.
Okay.
My brother committed suicide. And when I said that, I didn't even have the words out of my mouth. The phone was ringing. And my dad's on the phone, and he's saying, son, I want to help you get your life together. Okay? That's pretty solid evidence for me.
So you have no knowledge of God and you prayed? How does that work? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I didn't even get it out of my mouth. He was answering the prayer. He already had my dad down at the Toyota dealer getting the car and placing the call before I could even voice the prayer. So
if somebody told you that if somebody told you that they called out to Allah and then the thing that they were praying for, that there was a favorable outcome in their life, would you accept that as proof of the Quran?
Yeah, because I think that Allah is Satan. And so, yeah, he's going to respond to their prayer.
Oh, boy.
So Satan does good things?
Oh, boy, David.
Man.
Listen, I talk to people with personal experiences all over the map. There are plenty of explanations for why your dad could be calling you at that moment that have nothing to do with divine intervention. Okay. Parents call their kids. That's a thing that happens. To jump from, I got a call from my dad while I was praying, to therefore the Gospels are reliable. That's nonsense, my friend.
Yeah, but see, you want to reduce it. You want to raise, this is how you want to do it. You want to raise knowledge of God to a Gnostic position where it says that the person with the most intelligence, who knows the most, is most likely to know about a God through science.
No, I don't. That's not my position at all, David.
It says anybody can know me. God is more equal because God establishes equality by saying that anybody can know me by faith.
Okay, and you can make all the claims you want about the nature of God, but if we're talking about knowledge, so with knowledge, I'm talking about a justified true belief. Okay, I want evidence for the things that I believe to be true. You may have heard other hosts on this platform say this. I want to believe as many true things and as few false things as possible, and the way to do that is to have high evidentiary standards, is to be skeptical, and to be honest, frankly, about what you're experiencing.
Your standard, though. By your standard, nobody gets to heaven because apparently nobody can hit your standard. I don't know what it is. It's apparently impossible.
Impossible for what? I believe lots of things, my friend. Listen,
under your
David,
level, everybody goes to hell because nobody is ever going to know God through science.
David, this is a silly thing. We're going to move on to other callers, but I appreciate you calling in, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. But yeah, we were at the at the tail end of that one. Arden, thoughts?
I mean, I think he reminded me of my favorite Bible verse, where it's, the disciples wanted to give God the holy notepad and pen, and he said, "No, I don't need notes." That was a good one. So,
Yeah.